The hottest gameplay of the week is to use Gemini 3 to generate various fun applications. But the problem is, these applications run on AS Studio. It is very inconvenient to use, and there is no way to straighten it in China. How to get free in this video. Deploy it as your own website. Share with friends to use. I will introduce 4 free deployment platforms. Warcell Netlify Edge 1 and Google Cloud are mainly divided into 2. Class application. One is an application with AA function. There is also an application without AA function. Applications without AA function refer to those that do not. A basic version of the web page that requires interaction with AA.
Here's a quick sponsor message. This AIAPI aggregation platform for domestic and international large models lets you access 500 plus AI model APIs at lower cost and with faster integration. Kling v3 is priced at $0.07, and the NanoBanana 2 costs $0.025 per call. Overall pricing is only 20% to 80% of the official rates, with token costs as low as RMB 0.05 per million. It also offers an online playground, so you can freely use text, image, and video models with unlimited concurrency. If a request fails, you'll be refunded. Just click the link in the video description to go directly there. If you want discounts or run into any issues, join our Discord community for prompt support, or add customer service and send the message 6 for one-on-one assistance. Alright, back to the video.
App, we come to Google's AA Studio and find Build on the left. Here, one sentence can turn your ideas into one. A running web page or widget. Friends who have recently played Gemini 3. You should be familiar with this feature. I won't show you how to generate it here. This video focuses on deployment. We can find some official examples below. Here, I will use this application as an example to deploy the name of the application. It's called Research Visualization. Correlates a real quantum computing. The paper is transformed into a beautiful web page. There is also a mini game available on the website. Visualize the core theory of this paper. This app is a static. The web page does not involve any AI interactive features. Let's take a look at how to deploy it. Click Save to GitHub in the top right corner. Here, you need to clone an application under your name and click Save. If you have not logged into your GitHub account, we will be prompted to log in first. Then give the repository a name and fill in a description in the lower right corner and click Create Repo. Then click on Stage and Commit in the lower right corner. Click on the link at the top. We come to GitHub like this. We save the app to our GitHub repository. Now that we have the full code, let's analyze the project. Mainly look at the package.json here. Here you can see that the front-end framework of the project is React. React is a very popular front-end framework at the moment. It has the advantages of componentization, high performance, code, and simplicity. And React's ecology is extremely rich. Almost all functions have ready-made wheels to take. I wrote above that it is packaged as Wait Build. This project is very simple. This project is developed using the React framework. Wait is a pure front-end project of the compiler. Next we come to this file index. HTML, click on the pencil in the top right corner. Then find the bottom here. We need to modify a line of code. This step is the point. We need to add such a sentence. References the React entry file. Then click on it in the top right corner. Commit changes. So our warehouse is ready, and the next deployment is very simple. Next we come to the first free deployment platform. That is Warcell, clicks in the top right corner. Log in. Here you must choose to use it. After logging into GitHub, click Add New Project in the upper right corner. Warcell automatically recognizes the project framework, so these configurations don't need to be changed. Let's expand the following environment. Fill in an environment variable. The name of the variable is called the value of the Gemini API key variable. Just fill in a fake position. Because this project does not have AA function, we fill in a fake key. It will also not affect the use of the project. It should be noted here, we are deploying a pure front-end project. Be sure not to put the real API key on the front end to use. Because the front-end code runs in the browser, anyone can see your original code. In the second half, I will introduce how to use it correctly and safely. API key. Click here to deploy, and the deployment is successful. Let's click in and take a look. The effect, it looks very good, very perfect. Here's a note. The domain name I'm going to give cannot be directly connected in China. We can click on the project. Here is a return to dashboard, and then to the left of the sightings is a domain. Click on this add domain. You can bind your own domain name. You can access it in China with your own domain name. Some viewers may not have their own domain names, so there are other ways. Let's look at the next deployment platform. It's the same as Netlify. Click Login in the upper right corner. click Add New Project in the upper right corner of GitHub login. Select Import, then select GitHub, click Confirm, and click Authorize. The following configurations do not need to be changed. Remember to add environment variables below. The name or Gemini API key value is filled in casually. Then click Deploy. Let's click to try this domain name given by Netlify is okay in China. The next equally free deployment platform for direct connection is Tencent's Edge 1 Pages. I had a full video earlier about deploying a project using Edge 1 Pages. Its steps are exactly the same as Warcell and Netlify. I won't go into detail here. We deploy it using Aizhuan to generate it. This domain name can be directly connected in China. Let's look at another case, this 3D Percore application. It is a pure web-based 3D minigame. It also doesn't involve any AA features. Let's deploy it according to the steps just now. Click on the upper right corner and save it to GitHub for the project. Create a name, create in the lower right corner. Stage and comment, click the link in the upper right corner. After coming to GitHub, we click index. HTML is also missing that line of code. Add this line of code in the upper right corner. Then we come to the Netlify import selection in the top right corner. GitHub selects the GitHub repository you just created. All configurations do not need to be changed. Find add environment variables below. Fill in the Gemini API key. After filling in the deployment, you can use it directly when you get this link. Next, let's look at how to deploy applications with AI capabilities. Here I still look at the sample library on the official website. At the bottom is an SVG generator. Here we enter a sentence. Click Generate. Gemini also calls its AA function. Generate an SVG image for us. This way, the image is generated. Let's click on the code of the project to take a look. We can see in the code. It requires a Gemini API key. Then call the Gemini model to complete the image generation. This kind of project deployment, there's a difficulty. It's how we protect this API key. Because this project is a pure front-end project, we must always have a sense of security. You just can't write API key into the front-end code. Because anyone can just right-click on your website and view the original code of the web page. You can see all the original code on the front end. If you write API key into the front-end code, it is equivalent to a direct leak. So this set of code cannot be deployed in the way just now. Here we introduce another deployment method. In the upper right corner, there is a deployment app. It is to deploy the app on Google Cloud. We see here that it is written that this is how to deploy. It will automatically protect your API key. Select a project here. If there is no project, you can click on this plus sign to create a new one. Note that the project we choose here must be tied to Google Cloud. And how to operate this step only after setting the settlement information. I introduced it in detail in my last video. Then click Deploy. Once the deployment is complete, it automatically generates a Gemini API key for project calls. An app link is also generated. Let's click in and try it. Click in to use it directly. Here I open the debug panel of the browser. Find the network request. Let's focus on how its network requests go. I asked it to draw a cat with a big belly. Click Generate so that the cat is drawn. We can do it in the web panel of the browser. See the network request when it calls the AI. Here it goes to the project's API proxy address. Complete the AI call. When the website calls AI, the browser will first request the API proxy address below the website domain. This request is sent to Google's gateway. After Google's gateway receives this request, forward the request to Gemini's actual API address, and the gateway will automatically attach the API key bound when creating the project, thus completing the entire calling process. This way, you can't see API key on the browser side. That is, Google, through its gateway function, protects our API key from completing this set of calls. One premise is that our application must be deployed on Google Cloud. Other deployment methods do not enjoy this feature. However, when we use Google Cloud, we need to bind the card first. It is very inconvenient to use. We have another plan. It is to transform the project. Transform into a complete front-end plus back-end application, calling Gemini's API from the back-end. Our API key is only stored on the back-end of the website. This also protects a PI key. Next, we will use AI to program. To transform this project, let's click the button in the upper right corner. Save the project to GitHub. Next, we will clone this project locally to transform it. If you're not familiar with the Git command line, GitHub's desktop client tool can be used here. We open the GitHub desktop software. In the upper left corner, there is a file clone repository. Then search by the name of the item and select the directory below. Click Clone. Then I use VS Code to open the folder. Select the folder we cloned earlier. After coming in, the first thing is to find the index, HTML. First, add the missing line of code to it. Then we use AI to transform the project. The AA programming tool I use here is codecs and EAA. Programming tools can do the job, and it's not difficult. My prompt is to transform this project into a Next.js. Note that Gemini's API key should be stored safely on the backend. Need to call AA functions on the backend. Make sure my API key doesn't leak to start. The renovation is completed. Let's take a look at the current code. The current code is placed under the app and component directory. These are all front-end code. Under the API directory, here is the backend code. Now the project is calling Gemini from the backend. API. The functional separation of the front and back ends is completed using Next.js framework. Okay, let's test it out. We create a new file locally in the project named env.local. Fill in the Gemini key equal to. Go back to AS Studio and find get API key in the bottom left corner because the project calls the Gemini 3.0 Pro model. Gemini 3 is not available on the free tier. He must use the first level Gemini API key. In a previous video, I explained in detail how to get such an API key. I copied this API key and filled it into the project. You can then start the test and create a new terminal to start. Command and we come to this address. Let's debug it locally first. I asked him to draw a monkey king. Okay, there's no problem with normal functioning. Next, let's deploy it. Let's go back to GitHub desktop and fill one in here. Commit message. My message is to rewrite next. JS project protection API key. Then commit and click push origin. Push the files to GitHub. Then we deployed add new project with WorldCell to select our project. Click import. We see that WorldCell has intelligent identification. The current framework is Next.js. So these configurations don't need to be changed. We just need to put the environment plane in environments. If you fill in the key or Gemini API key value, here you need to fill in a real API key. Click to deploy. When deploying, we reported a mistake, and we could post this error to AI. Let him fix it for me. In fact, it was transformed into NEX. After the JS framework, this file should not be used. AA helped us with the changes. These two documents were deleted. Then I submitted this revision as well. Delete useless files and fix deployment issues. We went back to WorldCell and clicked on the deployment again, and the deployment was successful. Let's try again. I asked him to draw a glue rock crawling shrimp. Our web request in the browser. You can see that when he calls the background, he uses the API generator interface, and he doesn't carry API key in this request. It was our request that reached the backend. The backend then calls the real Gemini API interface. We saw that it was drawn, and the glue rock crawling shrimp was quite interesting. But there is another problem with our website. It is that others know the domain name of our website. Everyone can come up and have fun, but all requests are made by calling this API key. We have to incur fees for this API call to key. So this website still lacks a sound system and a payment system. Users should register an account first, and then come in to buy points. Use this site with points. I had a full video about using Superbase before, and Stripe. Users who complete a website can pay for a healthy in order. The length of this video is limited, so I won't add these features. Finally, we summarize this video. We have introduced 4 free deployment platforms, WorldCell and Netlify respectively. Edge 1. Google Cloud also introduced different deployment scenarios for the 2 projects. One is without AA function. There is also one with AA function. How should we protect ourselves? A PI key is good. That's it for this video. Thank you for your likes and support us. See you next time.